Good evening. Welcome to Tuesday, May 24th, 2022, regular select board meeting. Okay, so that's select board instead of selectmen this time. See, I'm learning. I am learning. Is we have 3 selectmen present here. We have Noah Cobb on Zoom, and Mike Glatterer is not in attendance at this time. We have our town clerk, our town manager, and the superintendent of our schools here today. Please stand with me and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have approval of minutes. The May 10th minutes is, we cannot do tonight because Mike isn't here and Linda and Mark were absent for that one. So Monday, May 16th minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
A motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Is Mark?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment? Oh, here for business.
You're doing an awesome job. That's the public one.
All right, public hearings, we have 2 public hearings. One is for the June 14th, 2022 town meeting election, and the second public hearing is actually canceled. I see that now, so I'll open up the public hearing for the June 14th town meeting election. Any questions, comments? Anybody? No? If there are none, I will close the public hearing. I like those. Reports of committees, we have none. Department reports, we have none. We have a presentation by Audra Bovair, the superintendent of MSA D60. You can step to the podium.
So I'm just gonna hand out the books. I think that they were,
Yeah.
I heard that everybody received.
I
them.
received mine, yeah.
Good,
So,
good. Last year we had a little trouble with the mailing.
yeah, you weren't the only ones.
Oh, gosh.
Everybody
Sure.
did.
And then while I'm at it.
Yeah, leave one for Mike.
I already got 2 copies actually.
Okay, yeah. So I will also hand out, this is just a summary that I'm gonna review.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Just in case. So just wanted to provide a quick overview of the school district budget and some highlights, and then certainly if there's any questions, we can talk through that. So before I begin, I just want to do some introductions. So we have Denise Mallett, who's one of our board reps from Berwick, and right next to her is Alva Lovejoy, who's also a Berwick rep for the board, and then Nancy Newbert, who's our chair, and she's Lebanon, and then Denise Van Kampen behind is our business administrator, manager, and Susan Austin, our assistant superintendent. So
Thank you all for coming.
it's been nice having everybody here, so it's been great. So basically, the biggest highlight for our budget, and I think you will notice this as you look through the documents, is that we really focused our efforts this time around on retaining and hiring staff. So you'll see in those pieces of instruction and throughout the whole budget, throughout just the different categories, that we are up in those areas because we are working through salaries for all of our staff across the board. We had 2 negotiations this year with our support staff contract and our drivers and our custodians. But in addition to that, the board felt very strongly that we really needed to look at the retention of our teaching staff. So while it wasn't necessarily a contract negotiations year for our teacher, we did make an adjustment to salaries, an adjustment for this time, and they start negotiations next year. We are losing quite a few staff every single year to neighboring communities. And when we looked across York County, because so many of the districts negotiated last year, we were at the very bottom of York County. And we have teachers that are going to neighboring towns that are making $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 more than we are. So we understand that we can't necessarily compete with that right now, but we are trying to recognize the challenges that our teachers are having and how to keep them.
It's the same problem that we're facing
Yes.
also.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
So we understand that.
Yeah. So if you turn to the second page, that's the graph. And this really highlights visually for you that the bulk of our budget is to salaries and wages. So that's 86.5% of our budget is made up of salaries and wages. And then the back page, if you flip that over, breaks it down further by different sections, like regular instruction, special education, student and staff support, etc. Linda, did you have a question?
I did. You're saying salaries, I could probably wait till the end, but
Yeah.
you're saying salaries and wages, but does that include, are you also incorporating benefits? and
Benefits,
things? Okay,
yes.
I'll wait.
Yeah. The other issue that we are having, that we started to put some thought, obviously we've put a lot of thought into this, but we are looking, Lebanon has some structural issues at Lebanon Elementary School. We also, across all three of our towns, have space issues in the elementary schools. So North Berwick, right now, North Berwick fifth graders are going to Knowlton School next year. And that's for the foreseeable future because the space issues there. We understand, when we put the referendum vote out this fall for the 3 building projects, it was a big sum of money. We understood that. It had increased significantly after COVID, as everything has, all construction, materials, everything skyrocketed in price. We put that out. It did not pass, which we understand, but we are still left with a lot of space concerns and challenges. So we're working through that. We're trying to look at things differently within the buildings. Again, like a short stopgap right now is to move the 5th grade over from North Berwick, freeing up a few classrooms there for the incoming kindergarten students. We also know down the line, it could be in a year, it could be in 2 years, it could be in 3, but we will be having preschool across the district. And when that happens, that even further, adds to our challenges with space. So we're definitely thinking a little bit outside the box, so to speak, of what else can we do and how can we use the spaces that we have. Looking at the high school has room for an addition. Could we do that? What does that mean? What goes there? So we have options, but we just have a lot of things we need to think about with that. So you'll see some things in our budget based on just Lebanon Elementary. We did talk with Neil Raposa from Civil Consultants. He did kind of a breakdown of cost for us for Lebanon Elementary after the budget didn't pass. And just to get the structures in place for it to be structurally sound would be $7 million. And that's not counting making education equitable for the students as far as the other things, because the building is older. So, we're looking at that very seriously and want to make sure that we're providing what we can for all of our students, equal access.
I just want to interject with talking about
Yes.
buildings I understand, the needs. I've been in that
Sure.
Lebanon Elementary School. I know,
Right.
the feeling I got talking to people here in Berwick that if you had come with just the elementary school, it might have gone through
Right.
easily. Is because everybody realizes, the need there, but as you said, we understand, the cost of one of our little bridges tripled in a
Yes.
matter of 2
Yep.
years.
2 years.
Right.
So as we understand, the
Yeah.
cost of construction
Right.
went way up.
Right.
So
And I think it was a hard decision when the decision was made several years ago, pre-COVID,
Right.
to.
Everything looked
to-
good.
Everything, and then looking at 3 additions at one time
Right.
kind of made sense, because then Berwick had some space issues that will be alleviated. So everyone would get some improvement to their building and their concerns. But just things kind of took a shift, and
Oh,
here we
yes,
are.
didn't they?
Here we are.
Yeah, didn't
Exactly.
they?
Right.
Yeah, everything looked rosy before COVID, you know,
Yeah.
as,
So a couple of other highlights is that we are adding some positions also into the budget. We're adding an advanced math teacher at Noble Middle School. That was in the budget last year, but we did not have a qualified candidate at that time. So it's back in the budget this year for that purpose. And then we've got a few 2 to 3 behavioral intervention positions, and that's to help us really work with students and teachers supporting some of the challenges coming back and the lingering challenges we've had with COVID. Everybody did a fabulous job last year under very challenging circumstances over the last 2 years, really, with COVID, but some of our students are transitioning in, and it's still a little difficult. So we've added some positions to help support students access the classroom curriculum, and also, you know, that continued learning about behavior and what it means to be a good citizen in school and how to be respectful and responsible. And also those positions can help families as well kind of navigate through some of this as we come back to school. So in the area of sports and athletics, we have added a girls volleyball program starting for next fall. So that is about a $50,000 ticket item. Due to coaching, we have to get the gym floor redone and painted for volleyball. We have 80 girls that are participating in volleyball. So it is time to have a high school program, and we're very excited about that. We've also increased our athletics between the middle school and the high school by 32%. Over last year, but even over the years before. So we're seeing an increase, and our athletic department is thinking ahead to what other activities that we can really offer at the high school level moving ahead. So that's really exciting for us to think about that, and we're really, really pleased with that turnout for the volleyball. So that's the highlight. So we'll certainly open it up to any questions you may have.
any questions for Audra from the board?
I do, I have a
Yep,
couple.
go right ahead.
How many teachers have we lost in the last year? Or do you have a feeling that maybe considering leaving?
Well, right now I can tell you that we have 5 definites that are going to York for next year. And they are going to be making $20,000 more than what they would be making in our district at the same position.
And what percentage increase did we give the teachers to as a retention?
We're giving, right now, we gave them an adjustment of $2,500 each.
So it wasn't to the base salary, it was just a payout?
It was, well, it's sorry.
Okay.
For everybody, it's $2,500, but then they will get their step as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
$20,000 more, huh?
Yes.
yeah. At York?
And we will
Yeah.
never compete, like, right now,
Well-
we're not gonna compete with Wells and York. But what this 2,500 does is it gets us higher than Sanford, higher than Biddeford, so we're climbing up. And what I do wanna share with you is that we have had principals say to us that when they've told, let the staff know and the teachers know, the teachers have felt relief and said, okay, now I don't need to look for a job because I love this district. And this helps, this will help us. So
The York
that's good.
superintendent likes to tell us that he appreciates all of the teaching and learning that we provide to our staff, so that when he plucks them, they're already in good shape.
Oh, jeez.
They're some of their
That's a
best.
tough one. That's a tough
Yeah.
one to handle.
Yeah.
They're
They're some of the strongest
We
teachers.
experience the same thing on
Yeah.
our side
Yeah,
too.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, it is,
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how many behavioral health providers did you?
2 to 3.
Is it just for the high school or?
No,
for-
middle school and high school. We have some behavior interventionist positions at the elementary school. Some of those students are moving up to the middle school, so we're adding a similar position at the middle school and then a similar position at the high school. Yeah.
Those are definitely needed.
Yes.
Those are
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
And you said you were adding more funding to the athletic.
The
things.
50,000 for,
Have you
yes.
seen any kind of increase or decrease in non-athletic activities?
we've seen increases of, like, well, band and music are, always very robust.
Okay.
But we definitely have seen like an increase in the theater department, and then some of the National Honor Society pieces that we've seen. There are some other clubs and programs
Right.
that just had some fundraisers for Ukraine. That was very well attended, and that group is quite robust compared to what it had been before.
Oh,
So
great.
we're definitely seeing those pieces. Tonight, the Knowlton School has their concert at the high school, and they were just pouring in the parking lot, so,
That's where Terry is right now.
yeah,
Yeah, she's
yeah,
covering that,
that's
yeah.
good.
He's
And,
probably streaming.
Yeah,
Much funner than.
Yeah.
And so what is the plan for the Lebanon Elementary? Because that's way
right.
over there.
Right. Well, that's why we're really looking at different options throughout the district, like what can we do at the high school for building? And then what grade goes there? And if we move a grade there, then it alleviates, it trickles down and will alleviate some space there. Our hope would be to get like the fourth grade over to the Hanson School,
Yeah.
so that we can not utilize Lebanon Elementary.
So not you.
Yes, yeah, it can't, right.
Yeah.
We're working on some roofing, some ceiling work, tile work. Right now, we're working on some aesthetic kind of things right now as well, because the principal, Patty Gilly, had said that when she takes candidates to that building, because it is older and needs a lot of work, that we potentially lose candidates because of it. So we're just doing some aesthetics right now, to kind of help with that first impression for staff that are new to the building.
Any other questions for Audra? One thing that you didn't mention, and before I came down here tonight, I saw the news of a
Yes.
school shooting in
Yes.
Texas.
Yes.
Security at the
Yes,
schools.
sure,
Is,
sure.
I don't need to know the details, because I don't want anybody else to know all the
Okay.
details, but, what are we doing to increase the security?
We we've had a lot of plans in place for a long period of time, a lot of plans across the board as far as, and I don't want to be too detailed,
Right.
but
Yeah.
visual increases so that staff can visually see things. This summer, we actually are doing a training for all of our K-12 staff, drivers, custodians, in the building, responding to active shooters in the premises or in the building. And that's been on the books for several months
Right.
now. So we've got that. We've got, different stations throughout buildings where we can see.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we have active safety plans in all of the buildings. We work with those resource officers and the town, chief,
Right.
everybody to
Right.
make sure our
Right.
plans are up to date. And
I run into Officer Fogg up at the middle school all the time.
yes, yes.
What,
Yeah.
what do you think is the problem with these recent killings? Why do you think it's happening?
I think there's a lot of anger.
In kids?
I
Most
think
of it's young kids.
I think there's just a lot of anxiety and anger in our society right now for multiple reasons, and I think that it's we have to address it.
That's why there's such
Yeah.
a need for these behavioral health
Yes.
specialists to be in the
Yes.
schools.
Right,
Yeah.
well, that's it, that's,
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna get access anywhere else other than there.
right.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
It's
Right.
awful, it's a lot of increase in mental illness
Yes.
use that we haven't seen
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
in years.
So,
Right. Right.
Bubbling to the surface.
Right.
And then you have like the YouTube, not the YouTube, but the TikTok challenge in the beginning of the year was go into one of the school bathrooms and
Destroy stuff.
destroy stuff. So that social, those pieces don't help us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah.
So,
That's unbelievable.
well, no further questions, thank you for coming
thank
down.
you.
Thank you.
We
Thank you for the
appreciate it.
presentation.
Appreciate you coming and talking to us.
Yep,
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll give you guys, like I say, I'll give you guys a few
Pronounce
minutes to leave and.
On this road trip. Yeah, this is our road trip.
Yeah.
Are you on your way to the concert?
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you guys.
Have a
Have
good
a good night.
evening.
Good evening.
See you later. Thank you.
All right. We have nothing under unfinished business, town managers report.
Just wanted to recognize the Berwick Police Department. They had an issue last night that lasted into 3 in the morning, and they did a great job keeping everyone safe and bringing the situation to a safe resolution. So, great job, and we commend you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Update on Memorial Field expansion. It's finally closed.
Finally.
It's been since September. We've been working on it, but we now own the 3 acres. Got another piece here for downtown beautification. I have a proposal Lisa Hustis brought forward to me for $500 for beautification around the Civil War monument. She's been volunteering a ton of her time, and she's been planting her own perennials. And she's asked for $500 from, and I recommended we can use TIF funds for beautification.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We can plant some annuals to fill it out, and over time, she'll be planting perennials. So I just need a,
I will gladly make a motion that we approve utilizing the TIF funds for the $500. She does a great job. I see her out there volunteering her time all the time. It
second
really does make a difference when you drive into
Oh,
the
yeah,
town.
there's no doubt about it.
It looks nice, really looks nice.
No doubt about it.
So we have a motion
I have
and
a
a,
motion.
we have a motion and a second.
Yep, I was.
Yep. Any further discussion? If not, I will call the roll. Is Mark?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And myself is a yes.
I know the Underwoods dedicate some time too, and the executive director, her name's Jill Crosby, she donates her time for one of the medians. It's really looking good downtown.
It is.
Girls that work for me, they volunteer their time.
Yeah, they're coming down here
I'll
and do
take
that.
them down there and get it cleaned up in the spring.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It does when you
does.
drive through.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Met with Jody and Mike from the sewer district, and Star and Mike from the water plant, Dan from Ray Pierce. Met for a couple hours today at the water plant to go over plans for pilot testing for the pretreatment process we're going to add to the water plant, just to prove that it works. We're aiming for August or September for a 3 or 4 week period. And the goal is to test it while the manganese is the highest in the season. We also hope to get a period of rain, so when the water is flashy, to kind of hit both spectrums. Over the course of the next year or so, we'll be making some small improvements throughout the process, with the more significant construction is slated for 2024. Are there any questions on water or anything like that?
Yeah.
Why do we need, haven't we already asked Summersworth about water?
We did that when they were doing the bridge, remember?
Well, Jody's,
Yeah, we talked about it at our
does
last meeting.
Summersworth want to do it? Will they do it?
Jody hadn't talked to them at that time. He wanted to run it by us to see, so I explained the history of when they were doing the bridge, and we tried to do it, but he said that, there's been changes over there, so he was gonna go back over and talk to them.
Yeah,
So,
good, okay,
there's,
that's good. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah. Jody's he's the problem solver, and always
He's thinking,
a pleasure to see
yeah, no, he's,
every morning.
Yeah, I see, I checked the downtown feed in the morning, his truck's always out here before 6 o'clock.
oh, yeah. He, plus the guys that you see more of the employees out and around town.
Yep.
It-
You absolutely
Trucks
do.
around town that you don't, I haven't seen them, you know what I mean?
So,
He's really,
People notice.
yeah, there's some little bit of enthusiasm there, which is good.
I've been in discussion with South Berwick Town Manager Tim Pellerin about the town potentially sharing code enforcement and planning services, and this would provide a cost savings to the town. Where Berwick and South Berwick were relatively smaller communities, where our salaries are compared to our coastal neighbors, it's pretty difficult to pay the wage that these positions demand sometimes. So the proposal would be to share code and planning services, and with the cost savings, this would allow the town, our town of Berwick, to hire a full-time administrative assistant. So the administrative assistant would handle paper notices, minutes, pulling together agendas, application intakes, and Jen would still handle inspections, violations, and Tammy would still handle plan, more in-depth plan reviews and developing of the findings of facts, plan memos, things of that nature. So South Berwick is reviewing the proposal tonight, and they're gonna have feedback, and then my plan would come back to the board on the 15th and see if you would agree to any amendments they have.
How
If
does the
any.
hours break down? I mean,
That's a proposed working schedule. It would end up working as a 50-50 split, depending on when.
how do you see that? Because this doesn't equal up to a 50-50 split. Looking at this Berwick and Berwick, that's 18, 19 hours. This is more than 19 hours. This is same thing. They're only in town 2 days, but they're in town in South Berwick 3 days. Both the code enforcement officer and the director of planning.
I think Friday's a half day.
Right.
The intention would be split 50-50, and then what kind of they have planning board meetings too, so that kind of depending on like every other week they have a different meeting day.
Oh, I know. I'm just looking at this. This isn't a split, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
It
director of
looks-
plan is 19 hours in Berwick and 21 hours in South Berwick.
So, yeah, so in code enforcement, they're 3 days in South Berwick.
Here,
And
they're
next-
37 and a half hours a week. There, they're 40 hours a week, so they would be more there than here.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Patty. Yeah, I get the spirit of it's
Right, I know, but me just looking at it, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that it's a 37 and a half and a 40 split. So you're right, it would be a little, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, this is, no, when Mark and I first came on 8 years ago, we talked about, consolidation and sharing services and things, and
They didn't want anything to do with it.
it didn't go anywhere for, with any of the towns
No,
around.
no.
Maybe it's us, Mark.
Oh, could be, Tom. Could be.
Well, maybe we should quit and then see what happens, right?
Yeah. It's true, you know.
Yeah.
So one other question, are both of these positions filled in both towns currently?
Yeah.
South Berwick, the code officer, Joe, he's retiring in July, and they contract with SMPDC. They have a contract planner.
So that wouldn't be, by doing this, no one would be laid off?
Correct.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
just wanna make sure
Just
that,
adding another job, actually adding another person, admin,
right.
right, yeah.
Yep, I just wanna make sure we're not affecting someone's job.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a look at this and,
Okay. Last piece I have, Great Falls Construction is moving forward with their CDBG grant that's co-sponsored by the town. Great Falls Construction, basically we're doing, we're adding our name to the application. There's a few more stipulations involved, but they're paying the match funds. At this point, we need to set the public hearing for June 15th.
okay,
Okay. It's done.
works for me.
Um,
I thought we were gonna have a short meeting that day.
See, you went and said something, there you go.
Also, as part of the grant, we needed to put together an advisory committee. This group meets a few times throughout the process that serves as a liaison to the community. She's asked for one member of the select board, and there'll be one member of the planning board and members of the public. So I don't think there's too much of a time commitment, but if you're interested, just get a hold of Tammy.
Anybody else wants to jump in, I'll let them, but if not, I'll fill in.
Okay. I'll let
Yeah,
Tammy reach out, we'll figure it out.
yeah.
Okay, thanks, that's all I
Any
got.
questions for James?
Nope, good, thank you, James.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
All right. Is Selectmen Communications. I have a letter from Joanne Putnam, chairperson of the York County Budget Committee. The public hearing of the 2023 proposed budget for the County of York will be held on Wednesday, June 1st, 2022 at 6:30 PM at the York County Government Building located at 149 Jordan Springs Road in Alfred in the Commissioners' Meeting Room. This is your opportunity to attend the public hearing and comment on the budget. Depending on the comments received at the public hearing, the York County Budget Committee will take appropriate steps in the process. We look forward to your comments. If you have questions, please feel free to call 207-251-2602, and they will discuss them with you. There's the accountant, they're looking for an increase in the budget of $830,748, and that's a 3.89% increase and a tax rate increase of 2.97%. Take accounts payable and payroll warrant. We have a payroll warrant number 69 for May 19th, 2022, for the amount of $80,333.96. We have an accounts payable warrant number 71 for May 24th, 2022, for the amount of $1,011,930.17. We have a payroll warrant number 70 for May 26th, 2022, for the amount of $78,154.59. I'll make a motion that we pay the bills.
Second it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, I'll go through the roll. Mark?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. That brings us to new business and the municipal ratio declaration. Hello, Karen.
Hello,
How are you today?
good, thank you. How are you?
We all appear to be fine. So, if you would just explain what we're doing and what it's all about.
What I'm going to speak tonight about is the municipal ratio declaration form. This is a form that must be completed by the assessors and submitted to Maine Revenue Services by June 1st of 2022. Last year, we had a certified ratio of 100%. When we look at the ratio for this year, we're looking at qualified sales. And what Maine Revenue Services does, they do a sales analysis based on sales from July 1 of 2020 to July 30th of 2021. And they determined that the town's assessment to sales ratio is 88%, which can be chosen, or any other ratio between 79% and 97% is also acceptable. So they do that sales analysis. I just want to bring to your attention, though, that they stop at June 30th of 2021. So this ratio is a little bit on the higher side if you were to consider the sales through April 1st of 2022, which is what we have to do when we look at sales ratios. So just want to make that clear. Due to the historic increase in property values over the past 2 years, and we look at April 1 of 2020 to April 1 of 2022, the sales analysis of this period indicates a median assessment to sale ratio of 76.6%. If this trend of increasing property values continues, a statistical update will be needed next year. If the ratio falls below 70% and the quality rating, which we look at the COD, falls below 20. And I put together a summary of the value changes and the trends on the second sheet. And just to take a pause and looking at that, we're looking at the values. The overall change in value, we're looking at a 1.58% increase in overall value. However, when we look at our sales, our assessment to sales ratio, As I mentioned, the 2-year, we're at 76.6. However, if we just look at 1 year, going back April 1, 2021 to April 1 of 2022, our ratio drops again to 70%. So it's just the historic times that we're in, we're seeing the trend of the ratio dropping. Our COD, or coefficient of dispersion, which tells us how close are we to the median, how far away are we from that median assessment ratio. And we're at 16.13 for the 1 year, 16.71, which is less than 20, which is good. That is acceptable. We have the price-related differential as another marker that we look at. And this tells us how equitable we are between lower value properties and higher end properties. We were looking for a span of 0.98 to 1.03, and we're a little above that right now. And that would indicate that the higher end properties, their ratios are greater than, the 70%. There's a wider margin, we're farther apart. And that makes sense. We're seeing new single-family homes being built here in Berwick, where 2 years ago, they may have sold for maybe $350,000, $400,000, and we're seeing them over $500,000. So our ratio is, again, around 300, and they're selling for over 500. And that's what that's indicating to us. Again, that ratio is just much greater for the higher end properties. So I just want to pause and go over that. Does anyone have any questions at this point?
Any questions for Karen?
On that bit of information?
Doesn't appear to be. All right.
So going back to our municipal ratio declaration, whatever certified ratio we decide, we must apply it to all of our personal exemptions. That includes homesteads, veterans exemptions. Also, the tree growth rates would also be reduced by this ratio. So for example, at a 90% certified ratio, the homestead exemption will be reduced from $25,000 to $22,500. So with consideration for all of the above, I would recommend a ratio of 90% be utilized. However, if the board is more comfortable with a ratio between 79 and 97%, that is also within the acceptable range. There are an estimated 1,447 homestead exemptions, and of which 78 are new applications that are processed this year. At 90%, the total homestead exemption amount is $32,553,500. So there's a form that needs to be completed, and if you would like to make a motion or a discussion about what the certified ratio you would like, we in the assessing would recommend 90%. However, that's really up to the select board as the assessors.
Are there any questions for Karen?
No.
No. In the past years, we've gone by your recommendations and we haven't steered us wrong yet. So, and so it appears that the 90% ratio would be the number we're gonna use. So, we're looking for a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the suggested ratio of 90% for the certified ratio declaration.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. I'll go through the roll. Is Mark?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. All right.
We have one more item for tonight.
We have an abatement, correct? Yep.
Correct.
All right, move right on to that.
Okay, sure. So this property is located at 8 Allen Street. It's a two-family unit, and an abatement was granted for the fiscal year 2019-20, due to abnormal physical depreciation of the building.
Remember that.
And it reduced the assessed value from $226,100 to $199,000. As part of the assessing cyclical property reviews that we do here in the assessing office, this property was inspected from the exterior on June 23rd, 2020. And because the abnormal physical depreciation was not noticed from the exterior, the abatement adjustment was removed when it should not have been, as the condition has not changed. And as a result, the assessed value was increased by $34,800 from $199,000 to $233,800. So even though we are beyond the abatement deadline for the property owners to file for an abatement, the assessors, upon written application filed, the assessors on their own initiative within 1 year from commitment may make such reasonable abatement as they consider proper to correct any illegality, error, or irregularity in assessment if the taxpayer has complied, and he has complied with any request for information, which is section 706A. Again, because this is our era, it is recommended that an abatement be granted in the amount of $656.97, and the assessed value be reduced back by $35,900 to $233,800 to $997,900. There's a lot of numbers there, and I apologize for the confusion.
Any questions for Karen?
I got a question.
Yep.
Just for as an explanation, so in 2019 and 20,
Yeah.
the assessed value was 199,000. When they went back out again, because of the depreciation on the outside of the building, but when they went there on 6/23/2020, they couldn't see that depreciation?
No, it's inside the it's inside in the basement area. You wouldn't
Okay.
see it.
Okay, I thought from this it was okay.
So when we do our cyclical inspections, if property owner's not home, we'll do everything from the exterior. We'll measure the property, we'll take a look at other aspects of the property and make adjustments based on what we're seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when we gave that abatement the first time around and, talked about the foundation and how it was caving in, so. Any other questions for Karen?
One more question.
Yep.
I'm just trying to understand the process. So when they went to assess it, was there nobody home? I mean, why didn't they go in and check that second time?
Well, we didn't go there a second time, we just went there one time. So I went there for the abatement process and
Yeah.
went through the entire property, interior and exterior. When my colleague went out and did cyclical inspections, which means we are going out to trying to go out to about 25% of all properties every
Right.
year. We're just going out there to check our property cards, and, we attempt to go home to see the property, but where this property is a two-family unit, both units are rental units. First off, they may not have been home, but we make the attempt, and we're not able to go inside, so we did the exterior inspection.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Looking for a motion?
I'll make a recommendation that the abatement be granted in the amount of $656.97.
And I will second that.
No further discussion, I'll go through the roll. Is Mark?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night.
All right. So, that makes us the second public comment. We do have an executive session tonight. Is any other business, a non-agenda item anybody want to bring up?
Nah, I don't see the crowd.
All right. We will be going into executive session is I don't believe we're making any decisions tonight, so we will not be coming back in. Is I'll make a motion that we enter executive session under Title I, subsection 4056C for the discussion of real estate. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll go through the roll. Is Mark,
Yes?
Noah,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
and myself is a yes. Have a good evening, everybody. I'll give Bobby Joe a few seconds to